What's going on, Ambitious Vet? Welcome to episode number 77 of the Ambitious Vet Show with U.S. Army veteran and founder and CEO of Greg Jenkins Consulting, Greg Jenkins. Welcome to the Ambitious Vet Podcast, where we believe that if you desire more than you have in any area of life, you have to become more in the process. My name is Chris Hoffman, Marine Corps combat veteran turned social entrepreneur, family man, and personal and professional development leader. On this show, I dive into the trenches with big thinking and conscious veterans who know what it takes not only to pay the bills after the military, but really live with a sense of purpose, satisfaction, and career fulfillment we all desire most after financial stability is no longer a challenge to overcome. Ambitious Vet, if you haven't already, grab your pen and paper. It's time to gain the golden grenades needed to break through your fear barriers to live a more purpose-driven life with passion. What's going on, Ambitious Vet? As promised, I'm going to announce the raffle winner for the first phase of our qualitative research study that's really committed to understanding an ambitious vet that has financial stability but is lacking something. We are on a treasure hunt, I guess, in other words, to uncover what your commitments are, your desires, your needs are now that you have finally achieved financial stability. Before I go ahead and announce the winner for the first phase, thank you for over 60 survey responses in over 4 countries, Canada, UK, Australia, and United States. It's been absolutely an amazing journey, and I've already announced it via email, and now I'm going to announce the winner for the first phase of the current research study that we're committed to surveying over 100 ambitious vets. Maybe that's you that want to have your voice be heard via research study. So let's go ahead and announce the winner right now. The winner of the first $100 Amazon gift card that we're going to deliver to them is email K as in kite, T as in Tom, F as in Frank, R as in Rascal, E as in Elmo, N as in Nigel, E as in Echo, T as in Tom, T as in Tom, E as in Echo @gmail.com. How I interpret this is ktfretnet@gmail.com. If that's you, please reply to the email in the show notes below, and I will electronically transfer the $100 Amazon gift card right to your inbox so you can get the resource tool, or maybe it's just an everyday lifestyle thing that you need that I can make your life a little bit easier for you spending 10 minutes on taking our research study. Now, if you're an ambitious vet that's listening to this right now, still want to take the research study, it's not too late. We are currently committed to surveying at least 100 veterans. We're on pace to do that by the end of next month, which will be April. So 2020, depending on when you're listening to this. And we are excited to partner up with any veteran service organizations in the world. So if you're in United Kingdom and listening to this, or if you're in Australia, or if you're in the United States and you want to partner up with us and give us access to your database, we'd be willing to throw a logo on our white paper that we will be creating in Q3 of 2020 to veteran advocated media outlets across the globe. So if you're ready to innovate the veteran community, reach out to us, email me, or if you're just wanting to potentially get into the next raffle for the next $100 Amazon gift card, which will be announced probably by the end of April 2020, if not a little bit later than that, via this podcast and email, please hit the show notes below. Until next time, let's go ahead and dive in to the interview. All right, Ambitious Vet, here we go. This is going to be one of the first ever innovative formats of the Ambitious Vet Podcast, which I'm excited to get a little bit more specialized and specific and give you some practical tips to give you some quick wins in your life. This interview is a doozy. Greg Jenkins does a great job of diving into the 3 golden grenades you need to accelerate your career advancement and where you're at in your personal brand, to getting where you want to go, to creating more fulfillment inside your career and more profitability inside your brand long term. We're going to dive into what is LinkedIn, how is it perceived by potential employers and clients, Also, the three major areas that you need to be focusing on for people to find you and what you want to be known for. And also, lastly, just the best practices of building a quality personal brand on LinkedIn that ongoingly over the next 10 years builds brand equity inside of where you're at to where you want to go. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in to the trenches with the one and only Greg Jenkins. Hope you enjoy. What's going on, Ambitious Vet? We're right back into the trenches again. Excited to bring you guys this episode. We got Greg Jenkins, U.S. Army veteran and founder and CEO of Greg Jenkins Consulting. Greg, how are you?
I'm doing well, Chris, and thank you so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to discussing helping ways to help veterans transition and kind of find a new identity once they get out of uniform.
Yeah, you've been doing a damn good job of that. Ambitious Vet, if you haven't already participated inside of our qualitative research study, Greg was so gracious with his time to actually do a live interview with me, which we dove into tons of great data and information, and he has a tons of wealth of information. That's how we originally met. And I got to tell you, I am excited to unpackage everything that we have been talking about behind the scenes and bring it kind of front stage and center to you guys. So Greg, let's go ahead and dive in, man. What are you most passionate about in life right now? Or how would you say in your own words what you do right now?
Great question. So, the things that I'm passionate about are, helping others out. And that's just not necessarily veterans. In this case, we're going to focus on them specifically. But, the way I guess my personal philosophy is, if, you can use your power for two things. You can either hold people down or you can help pull them up. And I like the help pull them up theory. And the way I try to help veterans do that is through the transition of coming, out of the military uniform, back into civilian life. And for maybe some of your audience members that have gone through that already, that can be a little tougher than it, at first you may assume it may be. And so I know from my own experience, over 28 years, I thought I had prepared very, very well for my transition. And in some aspects I had, but there were some other areas that I just didn't think about, know about, understand. And so I had to work through those myself. And so now today I want to help people with the lessons I learned, best practices that I've developed, and help others out that are just looking for a hand up.
Yeah, that's awesome. And this Ambitious Vet Network over here, we're all about the hand up, not the hand out, right? We're not about raising the disability rating. We're not about, leveraging Uncle Sam for more benefits. We're past that stage. We're about, okay, where's our next challenge? How do we grow? How do we expand ourselves in our current situation? So thanks for bringing that philosophy here inside the listener base. So Greg, we talked offline right before this show, and Ambitious Vets, we're excited to bring you kind of a new innovative model to how we're going to format this show. And what we're going to do is we're going to dive into how do we build a meaningful, sustainable, and profitable personal brand on LinkedIn. I'm talking about how do you create more opportunities for career advancement inside of your life. And Greg is one of the biggest thought leaders that I have found in the space. And I'm excited to dive into his practical knowledge and even provide some gold grenades for you out there looking to elevate your LinkedIn game, if you even have one yet. So, Greg, I want to go ahead and throw this back to you. What is LinkedIn?
Well, great question. So for folks that may not be too familiar with it, LinkedIn is a professional social media platform. And I highlight the word professional. So what I mean by that is it's a platform that you can use to brand and market yourself, whether you're starting a business, whether you're looking for employment, maybe you're just trying to expand your network or your professional relationships, for anything really. It's becoming, as the future of work keeps changing and technology keeps advancing, we are all going to become more and more versed with the things that social media provides, technology, communication, so on and so forth. And LinkedIn is one of those platforms that can be really, really helpful when establishing, a new brand and a new identity. And it's that point right there that I'll make a quick point. when I think when we're all in uniform, regardless of the branch of service that we came out of or are about to come out of, I think we all pretty much clearly understand our purpose, our mission, and our meaning in life. Whatever your rank or your career field or whatever the case may be, there's no question as to who you are and what you're supposed to do.
Right.
But the thing that I learned was like, well, when I was retired sergeant major, and I clearly knew my role, but when I got out, I was kind of like, well, who am I now? And how do I use all the things that I've learned to help grow my business, which was, I wanted to become an entrepreneur. And so what I discovered was how powerful LinkedIn can be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we can talk about LinkedIn for sure. There's really three areas that I'd like to discuss, and one is about an account, setting one up, or if you have one, maybe kind of seeing if it's still active and what it looks like. The second piece would be about how LinkedIn is becoming our resumes, if you will. And then the last thing I'll share with your audience, Chris, is some best practices on the profile and whatnot. So
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. And so before we unpackage those three golden grenades to help accelerate their career advancement out there, or even just level up their side hustle entrepreneur, or just scale their current business, how does LinkedIn differentiate from like a Facebook, a LinkedIn, a Reddit, or all these other social media platforms as far as creating more professional opportunity?
Well, there's a number of ways. One way that I think is really worth noting here is if you talk to corporate recruiters, let's say, for example, that you're looking, for a job. Corporate recruiters that I interact with and have interacted with over the years, they spend about 90% of their entire workday on LinkedIn just looking for talent. So in today's world, an organization can post jobs like they would normally would. But then sometimes organizations don't have to post jobs at all. All they need to do is go ahead and put together parameters or particular keywords that they're looking for, and they can punch that into LinkedIn as an administrator user, and they can find the people that have the skill sets and at the locations that they would like to maybe pull in as candidates for an organization. And I think that is a very unique aspect that LinkedIn has over other various social media platforms. All social media platforms have value and processes in their own, but LinkedIn has that very unique capability that the other ones don't have.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely get that. It's like your business card compared to a Facebook, which is kind of like your personal relationship kind of playground, just talking about everyday stuff type stuff. So I love setting that context before we go ahead and unpackage it. And I mean, LinkedIn can also be super intimidating. I know when I got after the first 3 years that I got out of the Marine Corps, going through my second, third jobs and stuff like that, I was like, well, I'm still figuring out my identity. So how do I actually, build a LinkedIn profile to make me look professional when I don't feel professional? So I'm excited to kind of dive into these practical tips with you. So let's go ahead and break down number one, Greg. So what's the first step as far as setting up a LinkedIn account?
Well, that would be the first step, is establishing an account. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. There's anything that you want to know about LinkedIn, you can go to their website, and it'll tell you how to do everything step by step. If you're a little unsure of that, of course, you can Google on how to do those kinds of things as well. But really, the first step is just getting an account established. And it's so intuitive that the LinkedIn platform will walk you through step by step by step by step. And it's very easy in that regard. A lot of times I'll run into veterans that either A, don't have an account and I help them get it established, or they started an account 2, 5, 7, 12 years ago, whatever the case may be, and they've forgotten about it. Right. And they try to start another one, which I did as well, by the way. And that's not the end of the show either. You can easily go back to LinkedIn and you can merge those two accounts. But the point is getting started, getting an account going, because you can have a website, you can have a business page on Facebook, and those are important too. But to have a LinkedIn account and a profile is, like you said a moment ago, it's your business card,
Mm-hmm.
and you can use it very much in that way. And also for your listeners, LinkedIn does provide a year of premium profile or account status for any veteran. And,
Wow.
and a lot of veterans aren't aware of that. That said, though, what I would say is I took advantage of the 1 year veteran premium account, and I made good use of it. But I got to tell you, I'm pretty happy with just flexing the basic account to the degree that anybody can. It has served my purpose as well. But just so veterans know out there, they can get a free year of service from LinkedIn for a premium account.
Do you know where they can go to do that?
LinkedIn.com.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
We'll go
Yeah,
ahead and
just
do our
Google
homework.
LinkedIn and you'll be there.
Perfect. And I'll go ahead and do the homework and make sure, Ambitious Vet, that you have that link in the show notes to go ahead and start doing that and leveraging that, because I know that you're easier found when you're on the premium level on LinkedIn. It's kind of a pay to play model. You pay to play, you reach more people. So Greg, back to you, man. Setting up an account, right? So what would be like the three big areas of setting up an account? What would be like the three biggest focus points? Say I'm a veteran that's just getting started on LinkedIn or wanting to do a facelift on my LinkedIn profile, which you helped me, by the way. So thank you for that. What would be like three of the most basic sections of our profile page that we should be doing or focusing on?
Great question, Chris. It's all important, but let's highlight three really important aspects of it. And the first one I want to highlight is your photo. And a lot of times when I'm doing LinkedIn profile reviews for veterans that I'm helping either coach or mentor through their transition, they say, well, I got to post a photo. So I've got this photo I took, 10 years ago with my buddies, and, they're kind of, you can see another head in the background, but they can see me. And, that does get a photo on your profile. But according to LinkedIn, the best kind of photo you want is a professional style photograph, which you can even make yourself. You want to be looking into the camera. You want to be smiling. You want to not have any sunglasses on. You want to be dressed and appear in your photo in the same way that you would want to appear at your best in the industry that you want to be in.
Wow.
So think about it in that way. Think about it that way. Yeah. Because if you're going to be you're running a business, you're selling yourself in that regard. You're promoting your business, and we want to put our best foot forward. Just like if you're going in, for an inspection in the military, we spend a lot of time making sure our uniforms are correct, and haircuts and grooming and all those standards that we've come to know and understand. We want to apply that same mindset to that photo. It's very, very important. As a matter of fact, according to LinkedIn, for those folks that like some stats, your account has a 14 times greater chance of being looked at and reviewed if you have a professional style photo.
Wow.
So it makes a difference. And I just want to also highlight too, so the stats that I'm going to be sharing with you and your audience, Chris, are not my subjective opinions. This is information that you can glean from LinkedIn. So this is their objective data and criteria that they've shared. So 14 times the amount of people that are going to view your profile and they want to connect with you based just on that photo. The second thing is your headline. And here's a really a common problem I see with veterans. A lot of times, and I get it. I'm proud I'm a veteran too, and I'm grateful for my the chance to serve my country. But if I'm putting retired soldier on my headline under my photo, nobody's trying to hire a retired soldier. That's
Right.
great that you are one, or a retired Marine, or sailor, or airman, or Coast Guardsman, or whatever the case may be. What you want to use on your headline are those keywords that best illustrate or communicate your value proposition. So think about it this way. What do you want to be known for, and what do you want to be searched for? So for example, if you want to start a construction company, well, it's great that you're a veteran all day long, 100%. But it's even better if you are trying to find a job or start a business because you have masonry skills, plumbing skills, construction background, project management expertise, those kinds of things. And so on LinkedIn and anywhere really on the internet, any word followed by a comma becomes its own searchable link.
Mm-hmm.
So those keywords then become what you're searched for. So if I am the ABC company and I'm looking for carpenters, as an example, in Omaha, Nebraska, I can punch in carpenters, project manager, and I may put in military or veteran, but I'm going to punch in certain keywords. And if you have those keywords in that headline and in other places as your profile, you're going to come up on my search. Again, going back to my little moniker, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be searched for? Determine what that is and use those keywords.
No, I love that. And just to kind of piggyback off that, I mean, even for myself, one thing that I have found as a best practice over here for myself to understand what to put in the headliner is, identify who are the top people inside of your industry. Look at their profiles and see what they're putting inside of their stuff. You don't always have to reinvent the wheel when the wheel's already made for yourself, Ambitious Vet. Because remember, there's always someone better than you out there. And it's a humble fact of life when you get out for even a sergeant major of the Army, right, Greg? So yeah, it's awesome. So what's that final section that you would tell an ambitious vet to focus on?
The about statement.
Okay.
And so you've got a good photo, you've got some very clear keywords that represent you and what you provide in terms of value. That about statement, that's kind of your the verbiage of your brochure. And it's limited to a certain amount of characters, but it gives the reader an opportunity to say, well, let me, I'm checking out Chris Hoffman. He's got a good looking photo. Hey, he's got these particular things that I'm interested in, my company's interested in. Let me read a little bit more about Chris. And that's what occurs in that about statement. And in that about statement, who are you? What do you provide? And then also what LinkedIn recommends is, make it conversational. You don't have to write a novel, but just give us a little bit about, why, you were a veteran and I loved it because I loved the camaraderie and I became a leader and that was important to me. And let me help you and your organization with those things, whatever, something like that. You can craft that however you want. And it's not set in stone. If you don't like your about statement, you can change it. But that about statement gives the reader an opportunity to know a little bit more about you. So if you got those three things, you're off to a good start. Good photo, good headline, good about statement. You're off to a good start.
That's awesome. And I'm excited to also offer you an opportunity to offer the giveaway at the end of this show. So Ambitious Vet, if you're listening to this, listen till the very end, because Greg has an amazing gift that will help you get off and accelerated in making sure that those three sections are where they need to be. So you're creating more opportunity in your business, your career, or even your life, wherever you're trying to go from where you're at. So Greg, we just talked about the first golden grenade, and thank you for diving into some key practical actions so they can start creating quick wins on their LinkedIn profile. Now let's go to the second category that we want to dive into, which is how LinkedIn is, perceived now in today's marketplace. You want to dive into that?
Yeah, one of the perceptions in the marketplace is the aspect of the resume. So, again, if I'm a corporate recruiter, or maybe I'm a potential client or customer to your business, I'm looking for talent. I'm looking for value. I'm looking for somebody who can provide the goods and services that I need. And one of the ways I can do that is, through a resume, no question about that. But, a paper resume has its limitations. Your LinkedIn profile, on the other hand, is on the world stage. And again, the more robust, the better that your LinkedIn profile communicates your about statements, your work experience, licenses and certificates that you may have achieved, positions you've been in, things that you have, I like to use the SAR format for work experience. And let me give you a quick example. So SAR, situation, action, results. So a resume or your LinkedIn profile, and they're kind of be the same here in terms of work experiences, when I'm reading your work experience, I want to read this about the situations you were in, what positions were you in, what actions did you take in those positions or roles, and what results did you achieve? Situation, action, results. And if we have those kinds of pieces of information in our LinkedIn profiles, that's going to be able to communicate to anybody who's reading our profile 24/7, 7 days a week. It can be working for you while you're sleeping. Your profile should also, with your resume, mirror one another. So, because a common practice now is if I'm going to a job fair and I am going to bring resumes with me, a very common practice now is for the hiring manager or the recruiter or somebody in an organization in HR is they'll look at your resume and they'll go to LinkedIn to see if you're there. And you want to make sure that those are going to be comparative, obviously, right? Because you want to make sure that the things that you're saying on that piece of paper of your resume is at least somewhat similar to things in your LinkedIn profile as well.
Right.
So that's number two, why it's important. It's becoming our resume, if you will, and it's all over the world.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm a big fan of Darren Hardy over here. So since I've gotten out of the Marine Corps, I've read Compound Effect, Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, and I just love how structured his mind is. And I think that's what I'm in love with how you break things down too, is it's very much a roadmap, a framework that you could just plug in a veteran, give them some ditties like a SAR, right? SAR, and just start taking actions, right? So I love how you did that. And speaking of just, Darren Hardy fan and stuff like that, it's, one thing that I took one of his recent courses and he was talking a lot about how it's a new connected age and how ambitious vet, if you're listening to this, that's the world we're going into. Talent pools are hard to retain in today's marketplace due to how easy it is to find remote work online. So make sure your LinkedIn profile is on point because someone is always watching, ambitious vet. So Greg, going back over there with you, brother, let's dive into the last and final step. What are some of your key best practices of LinkedIn brand management that you have found in your years of?
Yeah, so best practices. Sure, there's a number of them, and I'll highlight a few of them here. So we talked about the photo and the about statement and the the headline, and those are important. A couple of other things that I think your listeners should also be aware of is the importance of the city location of the postal code. There's a place that is there on the profiles to make sure that where are you located. That's very important because clients or potential clients or customers and or corporate recruiters may be looking for somebody in a specific location, and if you have nothing there, they have no idea where you are. You're not going to come up in their search.
Right.
But it's very important that you have where are you located. And a really important thing I think for veterans is that if you are getting ready to exit the military and you're on the West Coast as an example, but you plan on moving back to the East Coast, you can already place your future location on your profile. So if you're getting out in San Diego, but you're going to go back to Philadelphia, you can already put down that your location is Philadelphia, with the understanding that if somebody says, I see you're in Philadelphia, you may have to explain, I will be there in about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm getting ready to get out, but you can do that. That's completely allowable. Connections are important. I think that's one of the main reasons, but we're having this discussion about why LinkedIn is so important. The greater your networks and professional relationships are, the greater net you're casting. And LinkedIn recommends at least 50 connections. I would say that's a good start, and kind of ongoing strategy that you develop to grow your network, to grow your professional relationships in those circles in which you want to be known in and searched for and associated with. So grow your connections. Contact information. That's a critical one as well. I would say I would have at least an email address in my contact information. I personally would put some kind of business phone number, not necessarily a private line, but I want to make sure clients or recruiters can call me if they want to. They can email me, they can call me. One thing that when you start your account, you're going to be given a default LinkedIn URL, and it'll be kind of a gobbledygook of alphanumerical characters, and you can customize that, and I suggest that you do. And you can either use your name or some name letter combination, or maybe the name of your business, but you can customize that URL. And why that's important, and additionally to cleaning it up, is then you can use that LinkedIn URL in your email signature block. You can use it on your business cards. You can use it on your resume. Well, anytime anybody sees any communication with that URL, and if it's nice and cleaned up, it's more memorable. It's just better marketing. Very important point there as far as the best practice. Experience. A lot of vets, we get so used to using acronyms and a lot of military jargon, and it's hard to break. It is.
Yeah.
And so acronyms and military speak can be a real killer to a good profile. And the best way to do that is have somebody not in the military read your profile, because they won't know what you're talking about, right? They'll be like, what does NCOIC stand for? What does
JJ did tie buckle?
Whatever. Yeah, it's they won't know. So
right.
It'll give it to somebody who has no clue as to how to speak in the military ease. You know what I mean? And that's good too. And that'll help you out. Education, licenses, and certificates. Share the things that you've accomplished. It just tells the reader more about who you are. One last point. I know we're kind of getting close on time here. Volunteer experience. And sometimes, people have scoffed about this, but about 42% of hiring managers view volunteer experience equal to full-time paid work.
Oh, wow.
So if you have, you volunteer for anything, a church, a community, a kids program, food drives, Toys for Tots, doesn't matter. If you've taken time to invest your time and effort into that took a lot of motivation. And employers and customers and clients value that. Over 40% of them do. So
wow.
Don't disregard your volunteer experience. That could be the tipping point in terms of folks reaching out to you, or maybe even hiring you, or as an employer. Things that I could go over. The one thing I want to offer as we're getting to the end, and I hope I'm not jumping the gun here on you, Chris, is what we've been going over here is the profile review that I had referred to earlier. And I'll make an offer to your listeners right now, Chris, that anybody that wishes to connect with me, I will provide you an absolutely free LinkedIn profile review. And that's a diagnostic of about 4 or 5 pages. It will go over some of the things and more that we've been discussing in the last 30 minutes or so. And it can be very, very helpful for folks that are trying to get their LinkedIn profile launched and get it working for them. So
yes,
I want to make that offer to your audience.
Yes,
Chris.
That's absolutely amazing, because one thing that I found with anybody that's ambitious, always looking to improve every single day in life, is we may get insights, but how do we, apply those insights sometimes, right? And this diagnostic that he does, Ambitious Vet, is absolutely priceless. And I've actually utilized it on my own. And he actually did one. And one of my key areas that I needed to improve on was in the area of like experience, breaking that down more, and also connections and stuff like that. So Ambitious Vets, if you're really looking to find the gaps that you are wanting to improve on inside of your LinkedIn profile to accelerate your gaps in career advancement, I request that you go ahead and take him up on that offer, because it gives you new actions to take to create more opportunity in life, career, or business. So awesome. So Greg, back to you. How do we actually have an Ambitious Vet take advantage of this offer? Where do they go and find you?
Well, I think most logically, the first place I would tell you is go on LinkedIn and search for Greg Jenkins. You could search Greg Jenkins Consulting. Either one of those will go up for it. As a matter of fact, what you can do, Chris, is you could hold up the front page of the document you're looking at right now. You could put that up to your screen, and that headline there has my contact information. The phone number is there. The email address is there. If you look at the very top, there you go. And I don't know if they're able to see it, but
this will be primarily on recording.
Yeah, go to LinkedIn. You can find me there. Yeah.
So this
the other thing would be, the other thing would be to go to www.gregjenkinsconsulting@gmail.com, and you can go to the website there and connect me there.
Perfect. So we'll go ahead and have those links in the show notes below. Ambitious Vet. And what he was referring to is I actually had my sheet right here in front of me reviewing it, because I definitely need to give my LinkedIn profile a facelift. And if it wasn't for Greg, I wouldn't be able to see where my gaps are, so I could be having more meaningful connections with even you that may be listening to this. So Greg, over there with you, I just want to thank you, man, just for your service in the United States Army, but also what you're doing with Greg Jenkins Consulting, and even on your extra time, finding ways to mentor and coach veterans in their career advancement, man. Just thank you for what you're doing in your life, man. It makes a difference.
I appreciate that, Chris. I really do. And thank you so much for having me on. And if we can help just another couple more veterans every day, that's the way it works. Just onward and upward. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, Ambitious Vet, episode number 77 of the Ambitious Vet Show with Greg Jenkins. If you haven't already, go and connect with him on LinkedIn. Social capital is a invaluable skill set that a lot of people do not take seriously, right? So I challenge you as an Ambitious Vet to go and connect with him on LinkedIn right now. His link will be in the show notes below. Let him know that you heard him talk on the podcast, and figure out how you can get that assessment, the diagnostic that's going to allow you to give your LinkedIn a little bit of a facelift to accelerate where you're at to where you want to go in your career, life, or business. Lastly, if you are listening to this right now, I already know that you're warrior made. Become passion driven. Utilize just one golden grenade in this next week that you just heard, and I promise you, in the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, however long it takes you, I promise you, you're going to be living that passion driven life. But it starts by you implementing the knowledge that you take. Until next time, Ambitious Vet, hold the vision and trust the process. Take care.